Welcome everybody to Jazz is Our Democracy interview series, in which we look into the relationship between jazz music and the struggles and developments of democratic society. And we're very honored to have Butcher Brown in the place today, an amazing group from Richmond, Virginia, that's been cooking up one hell of a musical stew, jazz, hip-hop, soul, anything you can imagine, a lot of funk. It's funky and it's tasty, and I'm very happy to have you here. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having us, John.
So I'd like to start with a short round of introduction, and why don't you each introduce the other person next to you?
This here is Corey Fonville from Virginia Beach, Virginia, and he's an amazing drummer, and I've known him for most of my life.
To my left is a bass player, one of the leaders of his instrument, hailing from Arlington, Virginia. Known him about 15 years, pretty much my whole adult life. Andrew J. Randazzo.
Nice. So where did you guys meet?
We met in room 1003 of the James Black Music Center at Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia. That's exactly where we met for a rehearsal.
Damn, is that where Butcher Brown was founded?
One would say yes. In that moment is when this whole story started.
How did you all find each other or meet each other?
Corey's going to answer that one.
So I think the beginnings. Yeah, so I met DJ and Tennis Shoe back in 2006. And I'll just go ahead and say, like, Virginia Commonwealth University was pretty much the glue that brought us all together one way or another. College. I didn't actually attend the university, but they had a high school program for, students, and I can't remember if you got recommended by your teacher, but it was called Jazz Day. And so that's when DJ and I met. Tennis Shoe, I believe, was a student at VCU already. And so that was kind of where it started. I met Andy a few years later on a gig at Bogart's with a good friend of ours, a saxophone player named Jason Arcee. And DJ and Andy had already been at VCU together, in ensembles and big band classes, and obviously Devon is a drummer as well, and so they had a nice little hookup. I think it just was a thing that just happened immediately, like a musical kinship. And so I got brought into the fold, and I remember DJ was telling me, hey man, you got to meet this bass player named Andrew. He was just finished his freshman year, and we both actually had just finished our freshman years of college. And so anyway, that's kind of where it started, and just from then on, we just kept finding each other and just playing gigs, and then it just kind of slowly morphed into a band.
Nice.
Long story short.
Yeah, no, shout out to the college then, for sure, for making that happen in a way. What was it?
Go Rams.
What was it about Jazz Day or jazz music that appealed to you guys in particular?
For me, it was the outlet for improvisation on a higher level. And it was also an avenue through which I could go to school and play music at the same time. And I wanted a college degree, but I wanted to just play music. So it sort of made sense. And I was into the music, just listening to, this type of music. But when I got linked up with DJ Harrison and Corey, it was like, okay, so all these other people are listening to like all this jazz, but like where are the people that are into Return to Forever and Weather Report and Herbie Hancok Headhunters and like Mahavishnu Orchestra and this like little corner of fusion, and I meet DJ and it's like, oh, we're on the same page right now. Because people used to make fun of me for liking Weather Report. You know who you are. Yeah, you know who I'm talking to.
Do you think?
Look at me now.
Do you think Weather Report is having somewhat of a comeback actually today?
Really? Are they?
That's a question.
They never went away in my mind.
Yeah, you're right. But
no room for a comeback because they've just been ever present.
Right, but like they weren't on people's minds and in their ears so much. As you said, all these other people, majority of people were listening to other stuff. So was it like, what was it in that kind of music, in that corner, as you said, that was so interesting to you? And why did you prefer listening to that in comparison to other kinds of jazz music?
Man, that's tough to answer. I don't know. It just spoke to me. I just wanted it on in my car while I was driving around. I think Weather Report specifically because I was like a little bass nerd and I wanted to be like Jocko. So that's what drew me to it. But I mean, it wasn't just that kept me there, It's like I came for the Jocko, but I stayed for the Wayne and the Joe. Yep.
Do you have a favorite Weather Report drummer?
Oh my God. And Ndugu was in there for a short second. He killed it. Peter Erskine, people don't talk about Peter Erskine enough anymore. But Peter Erskine is incredible. He had a great feel on the drums, touch, just he was technical but just had a really good understanding of the music. But Alex Acuna was another one that's a sleeper because it was so raw. I don't know, he just had that like rawness to it because I think he's also a percussionist. And so like, him playing on Palladium, yes. Heavy Weather, man, it's so bad. And like, I wouldn't even think, I don't think of like technical facility when I think of Alex Acuna. I think of like just all heart, straight up conviction, just playing his heart out on the drums and just like you feel it. And that's something that you can't match. Like, I don't care how much facility you have on the drums, I can hear somebody that has all the chops in the world, but it's never gonna sound like the way Alex Acuna approached that song.
Damn.
So I don't know, I might have to go with him.
A lot of love for all of them though.
Yeah, it's all gratitude, man. We're all so different. I think Chester Thompson may have been in there for a second. Omar King was in there later. They always it was a great lineage of drummers in that band.
Is there something about the way that band functioned and played together that you kind of studied or that inspired also the way that y'all played together in Butcher Brown?
Yeah, I think freedom. Just the especially like, when Alfonso was in the band, that had a whole vibe. Jocko joined the band, I feel like it just like the fireworks just went off. You know what I mean? And he really just didn't give any cares. He didn't care. I don't know if he can curse. So I didn't want to throw it out there. But yeah, he didn't give a fuck. Jocko didn't give a fuck. You could just tell and you felt it. He was just playing what he heard in that moment. And it was just all in the moment for me when I heard him. And just all that excitement, man. So I don't know. I think that was kind of a special area. And then I think he truly did shift bass. He shifted the way people played bass. And I feel like even upright bass players were like, oh, I got to switch my sound up. They started going direct. Also because of the frequencies of the instruments changing more to electric instruments in the 70s. So anyway, yeah, just, man, I think that band just exudes so much freedom. In the way Wayne Shorter was approaching that whole situation, he didn't play a ton of music. He didn't play a ton of notes. He was all about that space and just having that no ego and being willing to just kind of submit to that. is important, and he saw the bigger picture in the music and was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna throw something here, throw something there, a little splash here, but I'm gonna stay out the way until it makes sense. And I think it made it more special because of that, when he did have something to say.
I think you're hitting something very significant there, mentioning the ego and like kind of taking a step back for the band, basically, for the way that we play together and collaborate in a group. Maybe we can get into that a bit more in the sense of, what kind of attitude or skill set, in your opinion, do you have to bring to the table to, really to be part of a successful band in that sense, like successful?
You got to be able to see the bigger picture, maybe even more so than you see yourself. You got to be able to look at things from the outside in. And I had a fortune cookie one time, and the paper came out and it said, "Don't worry about holding high position. Worry rather about playing your proper role." And that was a good one. And the grammar was a little fucked up, but I understood the message. I mean, it was a fortune cookie from a Chinese restaurant.
Maybe it makes it even a bit more special.
It's like heavy. Yeah. Don't worry about holding high position. Worry rather about playing your proper role. And I think that's what if you want to be a musician, it's like being on a football team. You got to play your part. If you're a tackle, you got no business touching the ball. That's okay. The quarterback can handle the ball. That kind of thing.
Is that something that you also kind of see in the way that musicians, you guys, but also other musicians that interact outside of music as well? Like, do you think there's something that spills over to the way that we interact, more broadly speaking?
I kind of look at it the other way. I think that how you are in your life out in the world spills over into when you pick up your instrument. And it doesn't matter if you've been playing for a minute or a decade. You can tell how someone is just by the way they hold an instrument and play. The personality's there. If you can open yourself up to hear it.
The playing itself, doesn't it also influence the way you are on the outside? Like, isn't it a kind of two-way street?
Maybe. And it's all one.
Anything to add?
The great Victor Wooten, I believe, once said, also from Virginia, I don't play music, I play life. I remember hearing that. And, I think that's real. It's just, I think we're constantly trying to grow as people. And that's going to influence the music. I never look at it like they're two separate things, because it's just all about emotion for me. It's a spiritual thing to play music. And so when, the whole idea of playing a ballad, for instance, something kind of quiet, you're playing with brushes and it's like a true ballad, okay, you got to play calm. And with jazz music or whatever, creative music, you have to keep your ears open. You know what I'm saying? If you're always talking over somebody in a conversation, you're probably going to have that similar approach to making music. You're just not listening. You know what I'm saying? And I know people like that. I've heard people like that. And as soon as I have a conversation with them, it explains a lot. Oh, okay, you don't really listen. You just talking. And so, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just not my thing personally. I prefer to play, to hear people speaking, and also being okay with like, hey, I'm going to lay out. This is not I'm gonna give it some space, and so having that approach, I think, is important. And so I do think that, for me, the way I approach the drum set is also how I'm gonna play on stage, or me as a person is also gonna impact how I, play my drums.
Yeah.
Or write music.
You know what they say, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Didn't Quincy Jones say that?
You gotta listen twice as much as you talk.
Wow, a lot of the things you just said, I think we could kind of also apply to, at least theoretically, to the way a democracy could or should work, like the way that we interact with each other in a democratic society. But I mean, looking at kind of the reality of our democracies right now, what would you say is lacking in that?
Unity.
Communication without emotion, more logic, you know. I think that just applies to life, you know. So many people, like, it's okay to disagree, you know. You're always going to find something that you have in common. But it's like when people disagree, it's like you could totally shut out. You shut down and, okay, I can't fuck with this person no more because they are on this side of the fence. I'm over here. And I feel like we lost sight of that because, you know, I think we've gotten so sensitive in this society with the internet and like all this information that we're taking in. It's created a divide as people. And so I feel like better communication is where you can start, you know, for me, and like just being able to listen to each other. Once again, it's all about listening and just understanding, and like it's okay to just not agree on something. You can keep it moving, you know. So I think that's one, communication.
Are there any initiatives that you're aware of that are trying to promote that in society?
You know, I'm not totally aware. I'm trying to promote it. I can say, I think, you know, we as people just gotta, like, you know, talk about it more. You know, men have to speak more about just communication. You know, I think sometimes just in relationships, you know, people just stop talking with one another based off of some beef that happened and you didn't ever squash it because you just never, like, were transparent. I think transparency is key to everything in life. And so you need to be able to have those conversations if there's an issue, and especially if we're talking about politics. Like, okay, like there's certain things where if it's so extreme and they're just being disrespectful, okay, I'm just not going to deal with this. But if you're able to have a reasonable conversation and just be like, okay, I hear your point, I don't agree, but we can still shake hands in the end, maybe even grab a drink or not, it's okay. But like no one's leaving butthurt. Because I feel like we have to just be able to, like, respect each other. We're all adults. Like, I mean, to me, I feel like that's something that we were taught as kids, and I feel like we lost sight of that. And you think, like, you're taught that, like, okay, respect each other, listen. But for whatever reason, we kind of reverted back to those childish ways. And I think it has a lot to do with just so much of this information on our phones. You know, and it's a little scary because I see grown-ass adults in their 30s and their 40s acting like children. We see it on TV. People, I mean, the whole thing that happened January 6th, you know, that was insane, you know, just grown-ups acting like children because they didn't get their way. It's like there's got to be an alternative to that. And so anyway, I think it's just, you know, we just have to get real with ourselves and try to do better. You know, I'm not sure if I've seen anything yet, but I'm trying to live by that and get better.
do you have confidence in society being able to apply more of that and to maybe develop in a way that lives up to that idea?
I think the younger generation, like, you know, millennials, Gen Z, you know, we're talking about mental health more. We're talking about these things and talking about our feelings. Whereas, like, it just was not a thing. It was kind of taboo to cry as a man. It was not a thing. And just be able to, like, accept, okay, I'm not doing well. But now I'm seeing more of that, which is making me optimistic about these things because I feel like, you know, we're just getting more in touch with ourselves and not just being like, I'm fine when I'm not fine. And then people explode because of that. Because if you're not letting it out, yeah, someday you're just gonna snap. So I feel like I have some optimism there. I don't know how much. I got a little bit though. I try to maintain it.
What are your thoughts on this, Andy?
I don't know. I really don't. I would hope people could move in that direction, but it's hard to say.
What creates these doubts?
Just the future's unknown, you know? How society will move is unknown. I like what Corey was saying about the younger generation coming up, you know? Things ebb and they flow. I mean, as far as the phones, there's definitely more of a culture coming up in the youth of like, you gotta hang up to hang out. So maybe.
I like that. Hang up to hang out. Haven't heard that before, but hits a note for sure.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Yo, let's take a ride to the fly side. Side A, we be bumping all up in a ride. B side, gotta walk, no they can't slide. All I hate is scattered like posters, they wanna hide. Ain't no ending, we with the crew, posse in the squad. Hot ride or redeem it, whatever you will. Paper full of gas, one end of the past, so chill.
Oh, guys, thank you so much for taking the time and talking to me. Thank you for sharing your ideas with us, and we're really looking forward to seeing you on stage tonight.
Yeah, looking forward to playing.
Sure.
This venue is so sick, by the way. This is such a dope spot. For real. Like, I was not expecting this walking in. So I'm very excited about playing some music.
Dope. Great. We're so happy to have you here at Jazz Montez. And yeah, Butcher Brown, everybody. Peace.
Tell me what you want, what you want, what you want. Tell me what you want, what you want. Tell me what you want, what you want. Yes, sir, Butcher Brown. Richmond, Virginia. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. You really got it, you really got it. You got nobody going all night. So let me tell you if you really about it. I wanna dance with me to this. You really ain't no other way around it. Yeah, that is just the way we are. And you know I can't stay long. I gotta get it till it's all gone. You really got it, you really about it. You ain't nobody going all night. So let me tell you if you really about it. I wanna dance with me to this. You really ain't no other way around it. Yeah, that is just the way we are. And you know I can't stay long. I gotta get it till it's all gone. Yep. You really got it, you really about it. Nobody going all night. So if they tell me you really about it, I wanna dance with me to this song. It really ain't no other way around it. Yeah, that is just the way we are. And you know I can't stay long. I gotta get it till it's all gone. I just heard, they really get rid of you about it. You been nobody going all night. So let me tell me you really about it. Come on and dance with me to this song. It really ain't no other way around it. Yeah, that is just the way we are. And you know I can't stay long, I gotta get it till it's all gone. Yeah.